You know, some car builds are just about bolting on parts, but this is something else entirely. This is about turning a lifelong dream into a real, tangible thing, piece by meticulous piece. Today, we're diving into the story of how a legendary car was transformed into a personal masterpiece, really pushing the limits of what's possible. Just look at it, a 1994 Toyota Supra. But this is not your average classic, not by a long shot. This is the result of years of passion and a singular vision, and it's packing 604 horsepower with a presence that just demands your attention. It's a true work of automotive art. And that's the real question, isn't it? It's not just about a big bank account or a long parts list. It's about a journey from inspiration to actual creation. And it's filled with all kinds of technical challenges and creative breakthroughs. And that journey is exactly what we're going to explore right now. So where does a build like this even begin? Well, every great build starts with a dreamer. And in this case, that journey didn't start in a garage, but in the mind of a young kid in Poland who was just completely obsessed with the world of cars. Let's get to know the man who brought this incredible machine to life. Meet Mateusz Kania. For him, the love for cars wasn't just some phase, it was basically part of his DNA. It all started with something as simple as walking with his grandpa to a local dealership, where he'd spend hours just soaking it all in, memorizing names, studying dashboards, you get the picture. And that childhood obsession was fueled by, well, the holy trinity of car culture, right? He was devouring car magazines, dreaming of Ferraris. He was living out all his modification fantasies in video games like Need for Speed Underground. And of course, the Fast and the Furious movies showed him just how wild these builds could get. For every car enthusiast, there is that one single moment that kind of pushes you over the edge. A moment where the dream just has to become a reality. For Mateusz, that moment came from behind the wheel of his friend's car. Now, you gotta understand, Mateusz wasn't new to this whole scene. He'd already built a really impressive front-wheel drive Honda Civic that was pushing 270 horsepower. It was almost done, but he was at a crossroads. Does he invest even more into the Honda, or does he change direction completely? And there it is. Driving his friend's modified rear-wheel drive Skyline, that was the revelation. The raw feeling, the way that power was put down to the rear wheels, it was a totally different universe from his Honda. Right then and there, he knew. He had to have a JDM legend of his own. The Civic was sold and the hunt for a Supra was on. So owning a Supra was one thing, but Mateusz didn't just want any old Supra. He had a very specific, very famous car in mind that would basically become the blueprint for his entire project. His inspiration came from one of the best, Japanese racing driver and tuner Max Orido and his iconic Ridox Supra. See, the Ridox kit isn't just for show. It's a functional, wind tunnel-tested aerodynamic package. After seeing videos of it just tearing through Japanese mountain passes online, Mateusz was hooked. That aggressive, purposeful style became his North Star. But let's be clear, this was never about building a replica. The goal was to take the spirit of that Ridox Supra and create his own, unique interpretation of it, and build it to a world-class standard. It had to perform, it had to look incredible, and it had to stand on its own as a top-tier build. No pressure, right? Okay, so with the vision locked in, the real work began. And let me tell you, the work was absolutely immense. Let's break down exactly what went into creating this automotive masterpiece. Let's start with the heart of the beast, the legendary 2JZ engine. With some very serious, very carefully chosen modifications, it's now pushing a dyno-proven 604 horsepower. Yeah, that kind of power doesn't just happen by accident. It's the result of a complete rethink of how that engine breathes. The core of that power, it comes from a big single-turbo conversion, ditching the complex stock twin turbos for just massive top-end performance. That's all controlled by an ECU master computer, which is basically the engine's brain, managing fuel and spark perfectly. And to keep up, you've got a high-flow Walbro fuel pump and a custom exhaust manifold. It's a whole symphony of parts, all working together for some serious power. All right, moving to the outside. This is where that inspiration becomes reality. We're talking a full, genuine Ridox wide body kit in carbon fiber, which is incredibly rare and super hard to get. That's paired with an ultra-rare Ridox titanium exhaust system, one of only a handful ever made by Max Rito himself. And the paint? It's this multi-layer magenta color that beautifully shifts from deep red to black depending on how the light hits it. And this just gives you a sense of the complete vision. I mean, from the aggressive carbon fiber front end with its functional canards all the way back to that massive APR wing and custom diffuser. Every single angle of this car is purposeful and just absolutely stunning. But what truly sets this build apart is the bespoke craftsmanship. Those wheels are ridiculously wide. We're talking 14 inches in the rear. To make them fit and work right, a completely unique, one-of-a-kind suspension system had to be designed and fabricated from scratch. And the interior is just as custom, retrimmed in Alcantara and Napa leather, surrounding carbon-backed Recaro seats. This is next-level dedication, folks.
So we've seen the specs, we've gone through the incredible parts list, but what is it actually like to live with a dream car that you've made real? What's the day-to-day experience like?
Well, here's the trade-off. The car sits on a static suspension, which means it is always this low. The reward? It looks absolutely perfect when it's moving, with this aggressive, purposeful stance. But the reality for anyone who owns a car like this is the constant, nerve-wracking challenge of trying not to scrape on speed bumps and steep driveways. But hey, despite those challenges, the payoff is immense. It's that unique satisfaction of cruising in something you poured your heart and soul into. It's hearing the whistle of that huge turbo spooling up, feeling that surge of power, and on a good day, popping the Targa top off and just enjoying the drive. That experience makes it all worth it. So this is it, the final product. It's not just a car. It's a statement. A childhood dream forged in steel, carbon fiber, and pure determination, now sitting on the tarmac, ready to go. And we'll end with this powerful message from Mateusz himself. His journey started from the ground up, but through hard work, sacrifice, and an unwavering vision, he built his dream. And his message is a universal one. If you have a passion, whatever it is, don't give up on it. Because as he proves, those dreams can absolutely become reality.